Hello everyone, and welcome to Samurai Cinema. Today, we're checking out a 1968 black and white action comedy directed by Kihachi Okamoto and starring Tatsuya Nakadai. It's a tale of blood, the pursuit of power, and betrayal with a spaghetti western feeling. Get ready to laugh, slash, and kill. I'm your host, GojiraFerret. Let's begin. Kiru, or Kill, is a 1968 action comedy that is based on the same source material as Akira Kurosawa's epic Sanjuro, called 17 Days at Fort Mountain by Shugoro Yamamoto. The screenplay would be written by Akira Moro and directed by Kihachi Okamoto. Okamoto has other samurai titles attached to his name, such as Sword of Doom and Samurai Assassin. A young Tatsuya Nakadai would take the role of the lead, Genta, a samurai working for the Yakuza after being disillusioned by the lifestyle. He's accompanied by a farmer named Hanjiro Tabata, played by Etsushi Takahashi, who aspires to walk the samurai path by any means possible. The two become entwined in an internal clan conflict. Cinematography would be handled by Rokuro Nishigaki, while the score is produced by an already familiar name on this channel, Masaru Sato. Kill would see production by the company Tokyo Aiga and printed on a 35mm using the Toho scope lens process. Kill would see a theatrical release in Japan on June 22, 1968 by Toho. In August of the same year, Kill would be released in the United States with English subtitles by Frank Lee International. A man named Hanjiro Tabata, hungry, wanders into a dusty and rundown village called Koshiba. He claims he's traveled from Edo hearing that Ronin were wanted by the Yakuza in this town. He is advised to see Chamberlain Tamiya Ayuzawa for employment. Hanjiro searches for Ayuzawa's home and notices that the town is destroyed, with homes burnt down and even discovering a woman who's taken her own life. While on his tour, he runs into a samurai, Genta, who explains that the Yakuza led a riot that destroyed the town. The two assist protecting a Ronin in black who is attacked by a young man convinced he was the samurai responsible for the death of his Yakuza boss. The Ronin introduces himself as Tatsuro Oikawa, played by Naoko Kubo. A group of men known as the Seven meet in the small town after being given orders to kill chief vassal Sachu Mizoguchi by Ayuzawa. The seven assassins wait for the arrival of Mizoguchi's convoy, and once they enter the main street, they spring their trap. The seven fight furiously, cutting down Mizoguchi's security in an entertaining fight scene. Mizoguchi is slain by the seven, and they are told by Genta that their situation has begun. The group decide to send the vagrant to report the death of Mizoguchi to Ayuzawa while they go into hiding. Meanwhile, Hanjiro ends up in the service of Ayuzawa after interrupting a lesson in his sword school. Hanjiro meets his new acquaintance again as Genta reports Mizoguchi's death. Ayuzawa, afraid that Genta will report the chief vassal's death to anyone outside of the clan, gives Hanjiro an order to assassinate him. The two once again meet, and Hanjiro is outskilled by the former samurai. Hanjiro is convinced to lie and report that he was successful in killing Genta, and the two men go their separate ways. The seven meet and realize that not only has Ayuzawa imprisoned another chamberlain named Noriuchi, but that Ayuzawa has framed them for the murder of Mizoguchi. The group decide to go into hiding and devise a way to Edo so they can tell the superintendent, while over 30 men are sent to hunt them down. Ayuzawa, concerned the first 30 will hold back killing the seven, he sends a group of Ronin and thugs to slay the group. Genta discovers that the seven are holed up in a mountain and that they have already been found out. He is able to join the second group of assassins, stating he is a Ronin looking for work. The group allows him to join, and Genta reunites with Hanjiro. Back at the hideout, the seven are attacked with bullets and arrows by the first 30 men. Tatsutaro attempts to negotiate with them, but is unsuccessful. Things become complicated when the second group arrives, and eventually, after their attempt to kill the seven, are shot by the first 30. During the confusion, Genta tells one of the seven his plan to help them escape, stating he has a horse waiting for them. Later that night, Genta fires an arrow into the hideout's door, which signals one of the seven to run out in an attempt to escape. During the escape, he is cornered by one of the first 30, but Genta quickly cuts them down. He tells the escapee that there's a horse ready for him and that he needs to ride to Edo. Ayuzawa's squad leader, Jirota Arao, confronts Genta shortly after, and the two explain their reasons why they're participating. Jirota explains that he needs the Ryo to pay his wife's debt so she can be freed, and Genta explains that he had a friend that he was forced to slay, thinking it was his duty. This being the reason why he's disillusioned with the samurai lifestyle. He explains that the seven remind him of his slain friend. Genta tells Jirota he plans to kill Aizawa himself and leaves. Unfortunately, Genta is captured and interrogated by Aizawa's men by beating him with bokken. Aizawa then decides to throw Genta into a jail cell with the Chamberlain Moriuchi and leaves the beaten samurai to succumb to his wounds. Hanjiro arrives after discovering Genta's plan and with the assistance of Moriuchi breaks out with Genta. Later, the conflict on the mountain comes to a head as the two groups of assassins square off in a final showdown, leading to the death of Jirota. The seven begin to turn on each other, and it eventually forces them to make an escape, which, after exiting their hideout, discover the two groups have nearly killed each other. Genta wakes up and tells Hanjiro he plans on assassinating Aizawa himself. The seven meet with Hanjiro, who tells them that they must assist his friend in slaying their enemy, and the group agrees. Using a priest as a distraction, Genta is able to sneak into Aizawa's quarters and wait for his target. Aizawa enters and is ambushed by Genta, but when Aizawa calls for his bodyguards, they are attacked by the seven, who successfully fight them off. Aizawa meets his death, and it's announced that the superintendent has been made aware of the assassination and is on his way from Edo to confront Aizawa. While waiting for the superintendent's arrival, the Spring Equinox Festival begins, and during the celebration, Genta wanders away. Days later, Genta is limping through the rain-filled, muddy roads, but a newly made samurai, Hanjiro, stops him. He explains that Moriuchi made him a samurai, but he too was disillusioned with the lifestyle. He shows that he was given all the women Aizawa had taken and decided to free them instead. Now able to go wherever they want, Genta, Hanjiro, and the women leave and walk into the distance together. Rokuro Nishigaki would oversee cinematography of Kill and give us some interesting shots. Even one where archers launch a barrage of arrows directly into the camera, and you see them bouncing off of some sort of target they were instructed to hit. They're definitely not as expansive and don't necessarily catch your eye with stunning visuals of Japanese scenery. Instead, Rokuro opts for shots that are very gritty, much like capturing the same feel of a spaghetti western. This is an action comedy, but unlike most of them, the role of comic relief isn't relegated to just one character. Takahashi's character, Hanjiro, does get most of the comedic scenes, but it plays to his character's naiveness to the samurai lifestyle, him being a farmer in over his head while arrows, bullets, and swords fly. Genta is acted precisely by Tatsuya, as his character feels like a parody of Sanjuro from the Kurosawa films. The comedy and parody don't come as disrespectful, and Tatsuya plays a nonchalant samurai who's almost uninterested in the current situation, but is given ample time and opportunity to show a bit of drama, especially in the scenes where he confides in Jirota about his motives. Comedy aside, actors are able to be serious when the narrative calls for it, and the comedy isn't just shoehorned into the story. A very hard task to accomplish, but executed in the right way. Supplementing the acting is the action, and boy, is it great. Duels are lightning fast, giving you the feeling of quick and precise slashes. Outside of the duels, you get multiple man skirmishes. At the beginning, you see a full-scale assault on a convoy, while security frantically do their best to protect their chamberlain. On top of it all, there's another amputation scene, and if in color, I can only assume it was a crimson shower, as you see a full body's worth of blood spill on the dirt. Dialogue can be one of the weakest points to this movie, and maybe it's not the movie's fault. I had some problems keeping up with who was speaking, as some characters wouldn't be entirely in frame or facing the camera. In scenes with multiple characters on screen, it became confusing on who was speaking, and at times I found myself lost in the narrative. This could be an issue with me watching it in subtitles and not having my full attention on the screen, coupled with characters not being clear or apparent speakers of the given shot. The dialogue's body consists of very few, if any, unimportant discussions. Every line is crafted to the story and pushes forward, which makes up for the confusion. Now onto the strongest aspect of the film. Much like the cinematography capturing the gritty spaghetti western feel, Masaru shines with more of an intense tempo in the same vein as Ennio Morricone. Yeah, I'm talking Ennio Morricone levels. This concept makes sense once you realize the symbiotic relationship that samurai movies have with westerns. This being proven by Kurosawa studying the work of John Ford, which led to many of his own movies being remade into spaghetti westerns. With Kill, you get an awesome treat immediately after the title screen. It sets the pace of the gritty and dusty swordplay you're about to witness. What do I think of Kill as a whole? Easily put, gritty, entertaining, and respectful. It may be parodying much of the tropes of the samurai films of that day, but it does it in such a respectful manner that it stands on its own as a gripping narrative. Comedy and action were mixed in at an appropriate ratio with well-executed drama. I found Genta very entertaining, as his demeanor is very unique and feels like an exaggerated version of Sanjuro, without feeling like he's mocking the character himself. The narrative is gripping, and even though it could do with more twists and turns, tells an entertaining story. I did find the end especially great when Hanjiro too renounces the samurai lifestyle after discovering how much work it is. The one thing the character wanted throughout the movie, and he tosses it off to the side without a second thought. It's funny and believable. I recommend this film to anyone looking for a samurai movie with a reasonable runtime and decent amount of comedy. Well, that's it. My review of Kill. I hope you enjoyed this analysis, and if you did, please give it a like and comment down below on your thoughts on today's film. And if you'd like to stay up to date with future content, please give Samurai Cinema a subscribe. I'm GojiraFerret, and thank you for watching.